Hello, good evening. Welcome. Give me 1 second. Just got to get my laptop sorted. As per usual. So that just in case I need to do anything on showing my screen, I can do. And I can see what you guys are seeing on the stream as well. So I'm just going to do that. It'd be very nice if I could get a second monitor for this computer, but I'm not entirely sure that my graphics card will handle, or my RAM will handle another monitor. But there it is. So anyway, we've got 4 or 5 people. People are starting to come in the door, which is awesome. Just Bob is here. He says, hope you had a great day. Hope your foot is doing better. Yeah, foot is doing much better. Been up and about today after having a day of it elevated pretty much all day yesterday, which was not exactly entertaining to say the least. I turned down my speaker volume because I realized it's probably bleeding back into the mic. So up and about today. I took my kids to various play dates that they had. And yeah, that's been my day. Playing with my kids. Normally I would be in church on a Sunday, but because of my foot injury, I've not been at all because I think that would be probably a step too far. So because our church is in the center of town, so it would be quite a trek for me to get there with an injured foot. So I just kind of stay local this Sunday, which is nice. Nice to hang out with my kids, and my wife was away at a spa day, so she was hanging out with some of her midwife colleagues over at the place. Actually, the place is called Norton House Hotel, which is just outside of town, which is where my wife and we had our wedding reception there, and so you should be getting stream. I am definitely streaming. So, Bill Everts, if you can hear me, refresh, and you should be fine. Peace Valley Audio, that's my good friend Mike Neighbor. He is here. Awesome to see you, Mike. Thanks for coming. And let's see. Art Davis is here. He says this is the 6 p.m. Songwriting Simplified event. No, it's not the 6 p.m. Songwriting Simplified event. No, that only happens on Wednesdays normally, but we did one on Friday this week, which was this Friday just gone. So wrong account, he says. So it was the Songwriting Simplified. In fact, I've done 3 streams this past week, so this will be stream number 4 for the week, because I covered for Johnny a couple of times, and then I had to also do Songwriting Simplified on my own because of Johnny had some family problems he needed to take care of. But here we are anyway on a Sunday night, and yeah, there's lots going on, folks, that for all of us to be incredibly excited about. Not least the live stream on Tuesday from Presonus. That's going to be very exciting to see what they announce is going to be awesome. I'm sure a lot of you have got plenty of ideas what it's going to be. Is that a new record for me? Doing 4 streams in a week? Yeah, I think it probably is, because normally I do one once a week, and I try and stick to that fairly rigidly. I'm not like the kind of, I don't really have the time to devote to doing a nightly live stream. I just don't have the time. I'm far too busy with work. So and I work out at the studio professionally, and I just don't have time for doing a stream every night. So really, the every night streaming business, that is purely Johnny Gibe's domain, and yeah, so we'll let him have that as his domain. So yeah, so lots of things going on that's exciting for everybody to be excited about, and In terms of Johnny Lipsman Studios, we are edging extremely close now to being able to launch the VIP lounge, which is very exciting. I've been going over some of the design details with Rich Westfall throughout the course of today. Sort of at various points, we've been kind of picking up and having a look at things and tweaking it. It's not quite finished yet, but we are so close. We're just refining it really, and making sure that some of the functionality works. Mostly does. There's a couple of things that still need to be implemented in order for it to actually work from your point of view for somebody that is going to be joining and signing up for it. That side of it is yet to be implemented, but the everything else works pretty much. It looks very good. So yeah, we've got a few final tweaks to do, and then we've got all the the payment management side of things to get connected, and a few other things to get connected. And once that's done, which I think will probably be, I would think, this week, I'll check with. Wow, I'm going to sneeze in a minute. Excuse me. I would think. Wow, I really am going to sneeze. I'm trying to hold it off. I would think that it would be this week that Rich and I get all of the back end of it tidied up, and then when that's happened, we can actually launch this thing, and then you guys can actually come and sign up and become VIP members of Johnny Lipsman Studios. Wow, I'm so itchy right now. Ugh, I hate that, and unfortunately I can't edit, so I can't edit a live stream. Hang on a minute. Let's see if I can find some tissues and deal with this. Sorry, folks. I hate doing this. Excuse me. Maybe I can't actually turn my camera off, can I? Oh, yes, I can. Then you don't have to see this. I should have muted my mic as well. All right, there we go. We are just about back. Yeah, please mute. I was doing that. Okay, you can unmute now. Yeah, there we go. Now for the musical interlude. That was my nose. Yes. All right, so VIP is pretty much there. So it sounds worse without the video. Yeah, sorry about that, Art. Yeah, sorry about that, guys. Okay, so how many we've got? We've got 15 people here. So I'm gonna maybe give you guys, I don't know how Rich feels about this, but maybe I'm gonna give you guys a little bit of a sneak peek of of what the VIP lounge at this point in time looks like. Now, like I said, it's not the finished article yet, but I'm gonna maybe give you guys just a sneak peek at it. So give me 1 second just to set up the screen sharing and entire screen, and put that down there. And now you guys should be able to see at least what it looks like as of now, and we didn't have any of this before. Here we go. So this is, we're working on this little logo over here. It'll be sorted out. At the moment this is a bit of a placeholder, but this is what it looks like as it stands. So we will have lots of content going in here, lots of forums, lots of different things. Some videos will go in here. This will be a place where I will put live streams that are private live streams, which are just for VIP members only. This is just another placeholder at the moment. This will get tidied up and sorted out. And Rich and I have been testing it, as you can see. So it says total members 3, but really it's just me and Rich at the moment. We've just been creating a few different identities just to basically make sure it all works. And it does so far. So this is how it looks at the moment. There's not a lot to see right now, but we've got links to the website, to my Facebook page. This link to the YouTube channel is broken, but it will work. So, you know, when you go to the live streams, you'll just be able to click this button. It'll take you straight to my channel. And you'll be able to join the live stream that way. But yeah, there'll be private live streams via YouTube, and the links to those will be in the lounge here, and you just follow the link and it take you straight through to it. And those live streams, by the way, will be monthly. Okay, so once a month we will have a live stream that is just for you guys, so that we can deal with any issues that you guys have. And you know, any questions that you've got to do with music production and anything that you guys are wanting to learn, that kind of stuff. Kind of a little bit like what we do with Sunday Night Live, but Sunday Night Live is open to everybody and anybody. Anybody that is a subscriber to my YouTube channel can come to Sunday Night Live, and we talk in general terms about stuff, and I'll answer your questions. That's kind of what we do right now. But for the private live streams, we go into much more detail, and I will be demonstrating things much more intentionally, much more specifically. We'll have specific talking points and all that kind of stuff. That's what those live streams will be for. And if you become a member of the VIP Lounge, you will be able to get onto those. We will also do another live stream, a separate one, which will be where we will go through your mixes. So you will be able to send me your mixes for critique. If you are a member of the VIP Lounge, you'll be able to send me your mixes, and I will collate a few of them over the course of the month, and then I will pick maybe 3 or 4 of them at random, and we will critique those mixes. And we will be doing that every month. So basically, it will be a case of once a month you'll get the regular private live stream for the VIP members, the general live stream, that is, and then we will do the mix critique live stream as well, and on a separate event. And so that will happen. So that'll be 2 live streams per month, plus my Sunday live Sunday live live stream. So I'll be doing 3 live streams a month. So that'll be like pretty much every week I'll be doing different live streams. So it's going to be a busy time. So this is what it looks like right now. At the moment, there's not a lot to look at, but I want to give you guys a sneak preview so that you know what you're going to get. This is going to get populated with subjects, with content, with all sorts of stuff that you can dig your teeth into. We'll have a general discussion thread here where you can post things that you're wanting to talk about. You'll be able to post your songs in here. You'll be able to post your lyrics. If you you can attach Word documents and that kind of thing, and we can look at your lyrics, and we can go into detail on those kind of things. You'll be able to put your songs in here, and a whole host of subjects and topics and things like that. We will go into music history. We'll be going into recording techniques through the ages, all sorts of stuff like that. I've got loads and loads of ideas, and they are going to be starting to populate in here over the course of the next kind of week or so, whilst we're finishing up the finishing touches to this. All right, so that is that. So I hope you guys are interested and up for that. Let's go back over to this, over to here. It's a little bit more clunky than doing it with OBS, but hey, hopefully when we move. And Darren Bryant is here. Hey, Darren. Sorry, I didn't see you come in. Good to see you. Hopefully, when I move, I will have much faster internet and much more bandwidth, and I'll be able to use OBS for doing my streams. So hope you guys are interested in this and up for it. I'm going to keep on dropping in hints, and as we get closer to launch date, I will be showing you a few more sneak peeks maybe of what you can get. All right, so that's actually going to be tonight's demo, because at the moment I can't really do any other demos. Yeah, Bobby Booth says, hope so. I've been waiting for 2 months for it to get started. Well, thank you so much, Robert, for all of your patience. And I know a few of you have been waiting as well for a couple of months. It's taken a while to build this, because what we didn't realize was that because of the platform we've been using for my website, we didn't realize that we were going to have to basically rebuild it from scratch. And we also didn't realize that we might actually have to learn an entire new programming language altogether to build it. So So my good friend Rich Westfall has been learning an entirely new language called PHP, which he's never used before. So pretty much at the moment, that's all he speaks. When I talk to him on Skype, he pretty much only speaks PHP, which is a language I don't really understand either. But I've basically been saying to Rich, can we get it to do this? Can we get it to do this? And he's just like, I don't know. So he has to go and learn how to do that. And then he says, here it is. So that's kind of like how it's been for the last couple of months. Building things, testing it, breaking it, and then having to fix it. And that's how it's gone for the last couple of months. But like I said, Bobby, we are millimeters away from the start line now, finally. Feels like we've run a marathon in order to get here. So there it is. It's the best we can do, but it's going to be awesome when we launch it. It's going to look so good, and the content is going to be fantastic. It's going to be the best stuff that I could possibly produce. And so it's going to make your £10 per month really, really worth it, because you're going to get a whole ton of stuff. Okay. And of course, like I've said before, you'll get advanced insight into products that I'm creating, and you'll get the heads up on when those are going to launch beforehand. And you'll also be able to, hopefully this will work, but hopefully I will be able to set it up so that you guys can pre-order products at a discount. So that's kind of like the next phase. How much is that in US dollars? I have no idea how much £10 is in US dollars. You could probably Google that and it would probably tell you. If you just do, let's see, pound to dollars. And if I put in £10, because the exchange rate has dropped yet again. Exchange rate has not been particularly helpful recently. That would be 13.48, as far as I can get figure out. Yeah, I'm pretty sure it's $13.48 per month. That will be. Yeah, it was $17, but it's not anymore. The exchange rate has changed. So it's actually changed in your favor. It was $17, but not anymore. It's $13.48. I've just checked it. So yes, cheaper than 2 months ago. Absolutely. 2 months ago, it was around about $17.10, and now it's like 13. So the exchange rate does help you, William. It absolutely does. It does not really help me, but it helps you. It means that it's cheaper for you. And not so for me. I make a little bit less out of the exchange rate at the moment. So I'm hoping that the exchange rate gets to a point of equilibrium. I'm not wanting parity. That's definitely what nobody wants. Nobody wants the pound and the dollar to be equal, because that would just be bad. That would be very bad. So, but I am hoping that we'd get at least some kind of equilibrium, just kind of like a point where we can all say, yes, it's $14 to the, £10 is $14. That would be nice. But Mike says, thank God I did that GoFundMe when I did. Yeah, absolutely. The exchange rate was extremely helpful at that point. So, Mike, I really do appreciate all of your efforts on that. So we've dropped viewership a little bit. We're down to about 13. Let's get into your questions. And as I always say, your questions can be about anything to do with the entire music production process, from initial ideas all the way through to uploading your music to the world. So I know that's pretty broad, but I'm wanting to allow for kind of all sorts of questions that you might have, because some of you are going to be at different stages than others. Some of you are really going to understand certain things, and some of you just aren't, and that's fine. That's kind of what we're all here for. We can all learn from each other. I certainly can learn as much from you guys as you could from me. We're all at different stages. Some of you are maybe even further down the road than I am, and that's perfect. It just makes life easy for everybody. Stereolab is here, and he says, question. Okay, I await your question. Let's have the first question of the evening. Who's it gonna be? Hopefully Stereolab. He's probably furiously typing the question as we speak. There is a delay on the chat, so of about 15 seconds or so. So he's probably already pressed enter and, you know, going, why don't you see it? What Beast is here, and he says me. Stereolab says there's something with Studio One this Tuesday. That's not confirmed. We know that something is coming. Something is going to be launched. That's pretty much everybody understands that. But what we don't know for absolute certain is exactly what is going to be launched. So I guess we will all have to tune in and see. I believe it is 10 a.m. Central Time, I think. I think that's when it is on Tuesday, 10 a.m. Central Time. It's 4 p.m. UK, so that'd be 5 p.m. Central Europe Time. That's pretty much where what time it is. Andy Arthur is here. Good to see you, Andy. Welcome. Glad to have you here. Whitby says, we hear you. I know about as much as you guys do. If you know what I mean. I'll give you 3 letters, though. Even the beta testers like yourself don't know that. Well, beta testers know, but beta testers can't tell. Otherwise, we get, you know, we get booted from being beta testers. So yeah, of course, beta testers will know, and anyone that is on QA will know. Anyone that's on the dev team, of course, will know. But yes, beta testers do know, but beta testers cannot tell. So I therefore will not be. As Peace Valley Audio says, it's a big secret. Correct, it's a big secret. William Everett says, just recorded a live event today using the X-USB out of their Behringer X32. Since I was playing in the gig, the recording ran for the entire 45 minutes. Then I exported all the tracks as stem files. Wow, those would be hefty. Robert Overbeek is here. Hey, mate, good to see you. William continues, at home now, I have chopped each song separately. Is there an efficient way to do that? Not really. Chopping it is the best way to do it. That's it, really. There's probably a faster way to do it, but fast does not always equal best or most accurate. Just because you can go Control X or whatever doesn't necessarily mean that that's going to be the best option. Actually, what you want to do is you want to find the perfect crossfade point between each song. So when each song finishes, or when when the audience respond to the end of the song, and when you start when the next song starts, maybe that's your where you want to put your little crossfade so that you can fade between the 2 songs. That would be the perfect spot. And you're not necessarily with, some automatic process is not always gonna identify the correct point every time. So don't rely upon it. What is going to be quick and fast and easy isn't always the best option. Sometimes doing it the slow way is best because you get the best results. So I hope that helps. Stereolab says, so yes, you do know then, without telling. Yes, I do know, but I am not telling. And I have known for some time, for several months now, I should say. William Evers says, so should I just leave it as one big file rather than making each song its own file? No, you can make it individual songs. You can do that in the project page. Bring the whole thing into the project page, and then in the project page, you can split into individual songs. And then you can give each individual song its own title, its own metadata, the whole works. And then you can just, you can make crossfades between it in. Between each song. Easy peasy. Woodby says, yeah, that's true. Slower the better. Yeah, when it comes to doing editing, oftentimes the slow way is best because you are most focused on accuracy. If there is a macro to do something, the macro will not always detect what you want every time. So Mike says, rub it in, why don't you? It's one of those things, you know. Nothing I can do about that. Robert Overbeek says, I just read an article Sweetwater posted and said, get as much RAM as the computer holds. It'll run more efficient. I have 16. Should I add another 16? You know, if your computer will handle 32, go for 32. Because I tell you this, future proofing your machine is future-proofing your machine is going to be the best option. Okay, future-proofing your machine is going to be the best option. So if you know, as you go down the line, software is going to get more expensive. Software is going to you know, depending upon what software you're using, software will increase in size. Certainly, as more features are added, certain things increase in size. So, you know, the more RAM you've got, the more you can do with it. The more things you can add, like you know, orchestral libraries, for example. You know, you can use, you know, real high spec orchestral samples very, very easily when you've got a ton of RAM. And you know, making videos again is going to be even easier for you if you've got a lot of RAM. Woodby says maybe Presonus bought Gibson. Good guess. Good guess. I like your thinking, Woodbeast. Can he say any more than that? Woodby says Presonus should sell a custom PC Mac. Well, they kind of do and they kind of don't. There's a company called PC Audio Labs. And they have a good relationship, a very good relationship with Presonus. And in fact, Presonus have a deal with them with Presonus branded, well, not quite branded. They're PC audio machines, but you know, when you buy one of their machines, you also get Studio One preloaded on the machine. The machine is optimized for audio as spec. So they do have that kind of a deal. So PC Audio Labs is a good place to go if you want to get a machine that you know and can guarantee is going to work with Studio One. Stereolab is typing and he says it's a slow quest. He's a slow typer. That's join the club. That's me too. I'm a slow typer as well. Well, what I usually do is my fingers go absolutely frenetically crazy because I'm a piano player, and then I have to go back and correct all the typos. Woodby says they're very pricey. Well, you know what? High-spec audio computers are very pricey. They just are, because you need a lot of specialized components. You need a specialized chipset for your processor. So yes, you can go and buy yourself a Dell machine, or you can go and buy yourself a machine off of, I don't know, off of a shelf from a Walmart or something like that. You could do that. And you might get lucky and the chipset and everything else is perfect and you have no problems. But you might otherwise encounter some problems going for a cheaper option. How about Sweetwater's Creation Station? Yes, I would recommend those as well. You know, they're not necessarily pre-spec'd for Presonus Studio One, but they will certainly be pre-spec'd for audio. And Mike says he's hoping to get one before the end of the year. Well, yeah, the Creation Station I totally recommend. Definitely. Most things from Sweetwater you can trust. You can trust. They're just a great company. And you know, they take a great deal of care to make sure that, you know, everything that they sell, even if they're selling it as a reseller or if it's something that is theirs, you know, a Sweetwater branded product, you know, they make sure that they pass rigorous controls. So, you know, so they're good. Bobby Booth says, okay, Presonus bought Softube. Oh, Bobby, that's such a good guess. That is such a good guess. I like that. How was the wedding? The wedding was very good. I watched, my wife and I watched it. and it was really, really good. They had the bishop of the Episcopal Church of the United States delivered the wedding address, and I tell you, it was a great sermon. Whether you're a Christian or not, it was a great sermon, and he preached wonderfully. So Just Bob says, so you have Studio One on an old computer, buy a new computer. Do you back up Studio One on a flash drive and reinstall, or contact PreSonus for new download? No, your license allows you to download Studio One up to 5 times for such situations as that. You know, your machine, maybe your old machine dies, you need to get a new machine. It's fine. You just download another activation. You get 5 activations of your one license, which you can use, but you cannot use them simultaneously. That's the caveat. So you have to kind of use them separately. But yes, you can just use one of your 5 activations, and then I would say just deauthorize your old machine so you get that activation back, so you're back to 5. Okay, that's what I would recommend you do, and you can do all of that from your My PreSonus account. The music was great, indeed it was. The gospel choir were fantastic. I'm personal friends with the musical director of that choir, and they are fantastic. I've done some workshops with them before. Let's see. And the cellist was awesome. Yes, he is a wonderful cello player. What a beautiful tone he gets from the instrument. He's not just a classical cello player, though. He plays jazz as well. He's extremely accomplished in both styles. Let's see. Stereolab says, my interface is an old Steinberg UR2, now no longer made. Would you recommend a PreSonus interface if I get a new one as opposed to, say, a Steinberger Focusrite? Would it make it more seamless? PreSonus interfaces, generally speaking, are going to be better integrated into Studio One than any other brand. That's not to say other brands don't work. Focusrites tend to work pretty well. Universal Audio tend to work pretty well. But yes, PreSonus ones are very good. I would recommend something like one of the studio ones, one of the new studio lines, like the 6.8 or the 1810 or the 1824. I totally recommend those. They are excellent interfaces. You get a good lot of inputs and outputs. Depends upon what you need, really. If you're needing 2 in and 2 out, then maybe the AudioBox USB 96 would do for you. The Studio One 92 is another good option. It's a little bit more high spec. It's a little bit pricier, and you might find that your outs are a little bit over the top for what you need. The 6.8 is a fantastic little device. What is really good about it is that it has a loopback feature on it, which means you can do screen capture videos like I do, but just using the one interface instead of 2. Woodby says the preamps are clean. Yes, they are. They are the X-Max. I think they're the Burr Brown X-Max Pre's, I think is what you get. Over the top is good. Well, yeah, it's only good if you know that either currently or further down the line you're going to need that amount of I/O. And yes, SPDIF. Yes. I notice I'm drinking out my Fender mug today, folks. Robert Overbeek says my Focusrite 18i8 works great with Studio One. Yes, it does. I hear lots of good things about that. Stereolab says I have a small budget, so I went on Sweetwater for $99. I have minimal needs, too cheap. Need to get a bit more. Just get what you need, man, and what you think you're going to need further down the line. That's what I would say. Be thinking not just about what you need now, but what you think you're going to need in, the short to medium term future. That would be my recommendation. I mean, at the moment, I have the AudioBox USB, the old one from it's about 10 years old. That device works like a charm. It doesn't. It was given to me. Its former owner was Johnny Gibe, and he sent it to me because he has a plethora of interfaces and doesn't really need it. So he sent it to me. Oh gosh, it would have been about 4 years ago now, and it works beautifully. So it's about 10 years old. It works great. And of course, I have the Studio Live 16 as well, Studio Live Series 3 16 as well. And I also have an Alesis IO2 interface. So I've got 3 interfaces. I'm not using the Studio Live as an interface at this point. But yeah, I have plenty of interfaces to go around. But yeah, just get what you need and get what is going to serve your needs for the short to medium term as well. Roland interfaces, never had good experience with Roland interfaces at all. In my earlier days, maybe the mid to late 80s, I was a bit of a Roland guy. I even reached out to Roland to see if I could, get on their endorser scheme. And I was on their endorser scheme for about 12 months. And I just didn't get on with their products at all. Let's see. Good point. I'm pretty poor. Would probably get the $99 one. Yeah, just get what you can afford now. And you know what? 2 in, 2 out is actually pretty good. I've made. Let me see. I made a whole EP, and I've made 3 or 4 other records for clients in the last 4 years. Just use my little AudioBox USB. It's great. And later on this year, I'm going to be doing another 12-song jazz record with a small group. So we're probably talking 6-7 piece plus vocals. So when we add up the horns as well being on there, we're going to be talking about 10-12 piece band. And I'm just going to record the whole thing just using the AudioBox USB. 2 in, 2 out. It's all about your recording technique, your recording process, how you actually go about capturing the best recordings you can possibly get. Bill Everett says, I bought the AudioBox 1818 VSL, but shortly after got the Behringer XR18 Air. Now that 1818 is just sitting there, thinking about using it for headphones. Yeah, you could do. I'm not really sure it works that well as a headphone monitor, though. It's not really what it's designed for. Really, if you're wanting you could get the HP6 or something like that, the PreSonus HP6. That would work better. Sealab says, of Korg, Roland, Yamaha, have a favorite in order. I've used Korg. I used the Korg M1 from pretty much when that product launched. Really didn't like the piano at all. I thought the piano sounded really plastic. And yeah, I didn't like it at all. Some of the guitar tones were okay though. But yeah, I'm pretty much a Yamaha guy. This is the Yamaha QS300 up the top here. I've had this since 1994. It has fallen out of a tour bus twice, 2 separate occasions, onto a busy road and has survived, and it still works. The only thing that doesn't work is a little floppy disk drive. That doesn't work. And of course my Clavier Nord, which I have right here. Let's see. Just Bob says, does Studio One recognize touchscreen technology? Yes, Studio One 3, when that launched about 3 years ago, one of the big things that was developed for that was integration with touchscreen technology. So things like the Slate Raven works well, Microsoft Surface works well. So it does work. You can use it with touchscreen technology, and I'm sure any future version would continue that trend. Roger Blevins is here. Good to see you, Roger. And he says, can you do one activation for desktop and one for laptop? You're not really, as far as I know, supposed to use 2 activations at the same time. But you can work. You can't work on the same project at the same time. So, you know, if you're both opening the same project, one is on a laptop and one is on the desktop, that doesn't work. You can't do that because you'll create a conflict between the activations. Because here's what happens when you start up Studio One. The first thing it does is it checks the verification of the activation on your computer with your MyPreSonus account, and if the two match, it then goes on to the next step in its activation list. In its startup list. So if it sees that there's something else going on, there's another computer using Studio One at that point, it's not going to like that. And you might find that it just refuses to start up. But yes, you can. William Everett says Studio One on Android. Cool. You can get the Studio One remote. You can get that for Android. I have that on my phone. I know it's weird and it's really, really tiny. It's not very easy to do, but it does work. So, you know, if I'm standing at the back of the room to do vocals, I can control Studio One from my phone, which is awesome. You know, and really, I only have it for, I don't even try selecting the channels because it's too fiddly, because, you know, how tiny the screen is. But you know, what I do, no, that's not it. That's the PreSonus app. I don't want that. Okay, there we go. There you go. Studio One remote control. So, you know, here it is on my phone. I don't even try to select the channels. I would do that in Studio One. But, you know, I use it so I can hit the record button and I can hit the stop button, basically. So I can stand at the back of the room and control Studio One. So that is handy. Works pretty well. Roger Blevin says, looking to buy a laptop. Any suggestions? For laptops, it's all going to be about your processing. How many cores, how fast it is, how fast the processor is, and how much hard drive space you have on board. And I would recommend that you hook up an external hard drive as soon as possible, because you don't want to be recording to and streaming from the internal hard drive on a laptop, because the internal hard drive on a laptop, generally speaking, is going to be too slow. And you'll get a bottleneck and you'll start getting crackles and pops, and then your RAM will start going crazy. So that deals with that, I think. Bob Powell is here. Hey, Bob, good to see you. He says, I didn't realize you were on, Johnny. I'll have to watch the video. Cool. Well, I hope you're able to catch up with this. Stereolabs just says, just bought a pretty loaded Levano Roger from a single dealer, but sure there are many. Okay. Yeah, so the faster the processing speed on the laptop, and at least a terabyte of hard drive, and the hard drive needs to be a 7200 spinner or an SSD, preferably an SSD for your OS drive, which would have Studio One on it and your applications. And then I would just say get a USB or a Thunderbolt hard drive that is also a 7200 spinner, and you're good to go, pretty much. So you'll need at least quad core. You'll need at least 3.0 gigahertz processor, I would think. And you'll need at least 8 gigs of RAM. Those I would suggest would be your minimum specs to look out for a laptop. I know some people that can do it on 4, but really 4 gigs of RAM, you're going to be maxing out that RAM pretty quick. So I wouldn't recommend it. Mike says, "Oh, you could just have 5 hard drives like I do." Yeah, I know some people that they have a docking station. And they have like 6 or 7 2 terabyte hard drives in some kind of RAID configuration or something like that, and they just back up to a backup to a backup to a backup to a backup. Now, I have to admit, I'm not very good at backing up. I usually don't remember to do it for several months, and then I go, "Oh, I should do a backup session," and so I'll spend 6 hours just backing everything up, when really I should do it, every couple of weeks probably. But I don't. I'm not disciplined enough. Just Bob says, "Cool show, Johnny. Have to go. Dinner is ready. Deep dish pizza tonight." Nice. Oh, yummy. I think we're gonna have pizza tomorrow. Yeah. My kids are off school. It's Victoria Day here in Scotland tomorrow, so my kids are going to be off school. So any work plans that I had have now just fallen flat on their face. So I don't know quite what I'm going to be able to achieve work-wise tomorrow. But so we've got about 12 minutes to go, guys. We've had some good questions so far. It'd be great to have maybe 2 or 3 more. And then we'll call it a night, because like I said, it's going to be a busy day tomorrow, and it's going to be even busier on Tuesday. So I want to get kind of stuff squared away early doors tomorrow, so that I've got Tuesday nice and clear for all the fun that's going to be there. William Everett says, "Is it better to have 3 2 terabyte or 1 6 terabyte Thunderbolt, or no difference?" That's a good question. I don't know enough about Thunderbolt to be able to answer that authoritatively. Maybe somebody like Woodbeast might know. Is there an S14 coming out? We don't know. We'll find out on Tuesday, is the answer to your question there, Bob. If you go on to Presonus' YouTube channel on Tuesday at 10 a.m. Central Time, that's 4 p.m. UK and 5 p.m. in Central Europe, they will be doing a live broadcast, and you will find out all about it then. That's the answer to that question. So I hope that helps. We've got 10 more minutes. I'm going to have a quick cup of tea whilst you guys are tapping out the last questions. Anyone got any other questions whilst we're into our final 10 minutes, or do I have to play something dark and foreboding on the piano? Because I can do dark and foreboding, don't you worry. Mike Neighbor says, "It depends on what you are doing with the drive. I have an SSD for main drive, a 4 terabyte external for Studio One, and and 3 1 terabyte drives for backup and video storage." That's a really, really great configuration you've got there, Mike. That's very cool. Woodby says, "How about discussing the Laurel versus Yanni thing?" Oh, yeah, that one that's been doing the rounds. About which word do you hear when they're spoken identically? When they're spoken at the same time, I should say. That's a really interesting experiment that's been going around. Some people hear Yanni, some people hear Laurel. I hear both personally. And I think there's a reason why I hear both. And it's to do with the way each word was spoken when they recorded it. So when they recorded each word has a very, very slightly different intonation, and the pitch is very, very slightly different between the two. So I can discern both. But some people hear one or the other. And to be honest, I really don't think there's anything particularly massively in it, to be honest. It's just interesting. But, I don't think it really matters which one you hear. So interesting, but that's about it, really. William Everett says, "How's the foot? The foot is very much on the mend. How is JG? Will he be back tomorrow?" I am fully anticipating that Johnny will be back tomorrow, but we will have to see. I will talk to him later and find that out for definite. William Everett asks again, "How is Johnny? Is he going to be on tomorrow night? Hopefully, he will be." Mike says no to the Laurel Yanny thing. You tried it in Studio One. Yeah, I tried it in Studio One as well. And on it didn't matter which way I did it. Didn't matter how I tried to record it. I could hear both. Every time I could hear both. I think for some people it'll be their, what they're listening to that recording on, the EQ curve of, the speakers or the headphones that they're listening on, or where they are in relation to the speakers, or the reflective acoustic properties of the room might cause one to cancel out the other. It's entirely possible. Woodby says, I kept hearing Johnny. That's cool. I like that, Woodbeast. Maybe we just need to start another one. Should we start another trend with 2 different words, maybe 2 different names, and see how that one goes? Because see, I don't think it's the words that are the thing. I think it's to do with phase cancellation to some degree, I think, and intonation, pitch difference, pitch, intonation, and how the 2 words are spoken. They're spoken actually significantly differently to my ears. Bobby Booth said, they said on the news it really had to do with the frequencies on what you hear. Yeah, it does. That's exactly right. It's exactly right. It has to do with the frequencies. It has to do with the frequency response of the speakers or the headphones or the earbuds, and it has to do with the frequency response of your room and your position relative to your speakers. So for me, I'm sat right here between right in the sweet spot of my PreSonus Eris E5s, and really, on these, I hear exactly the same. My earbuds, I hear both the same. I can discern both words. But when I tried it just out of my phone speaker, I could only hear Yanny. I couldn't hear Laurel. Whereas on my other speaker systems, I could hear both. But here's the interesting point. This was the point of interest for me anyway, as somebody that's a kind of a bit of an acoustics nerd, was when I played it on a loop and I opened the door and I started backing out of the room. When I got into the hallway, I could only hear Laurel. And then as I worked my way down the hallway, I could very clearly hear Laurel, but not the other one at all. And then when I came back in, I could hear both again. So it has to do with the acoustics of your room and the frequency response of your speakers. And as I say, the intonation between the 2 performances, which goes back to what Bobby was saying, the frequency difference between the 2. Stereolab says, just got back from New York City. Ever been? Yes, I have. I have been to New York City, yes. To my lasting regret, the one place I never got to visit when I was in New York was 52nd Street. I know that a lot of what was around on 52nd Street between 1942 and 1954 has long since gone. There are still a couple of clubs on 52nd Street, but all the clubs that you would associate with the late swing period and the bebop period are long gone, sadly. But I did get to go to Birdland, which I've always wanted to go to. Obviously, it's not the original venue for Birdland. The original venue for Birdland closed in the 60s, I think, sometime. So yeah, it's a lovely city. I don't think I could live there though. It's far too crazy. It's like London on steroids, and I lived in London for 12 years, and I thought London was crazy enough. But yeah, and oh, the other thing was in New York City. One of the things I discovered was that nobody could understand me. It was like I was speaking some kind of foreign language. But you know, when I was in Chicago, nobody had a trouble at all. Nobody had a problem understanding me at all in Chicago. But in New York, it was just like, what? Stereo Love says 52nd Street is a junction. Parker's Band, Steely Dan. Yeah, that's exactly what that song is all about. Parker's Band is all about 52nd Street and bebop and Charlie Parker and Dizzy Gillespie and all that. So yeah, New York City is a madhouse. Yes, you're not kidding. The people there are crazy. They're lovely. Don't get me wrong. I have, you know, I have a little bit of an affinity for the folk of New York. I really like them, but they are completely bonkers, especially the cab drivers. Oh my word. But yeah, I couldn't live there. It's a place to go visit. It's a place to, you know, I have friends in New York, so it's a place to go and visit and hang out with them and go to jazz clubs and stuff. But it's not really the kind of place that I would ever want to live, frankly, to be honest. So yeah, just I mean, you take your life into your own hands, crossing the roads, much like you do in London. And you know, it's been, you know, 14 years since I last lived in London, and I visited it maybe 2 or 3 years ago. I went back to go and play on a film score. So I went back down to London for that, to Angel Studios in the west side of London, and no, I wouldn't want to live there again. I was glad that I don't. So there you go. William Evans, he says, I lived in Manhattan for a year one summer. Mike says, I'm in Philly. That's too close to New York for me. Yeah, Philly's a nice place. John Coltrane came from Philly, as did, oddly enough, Philly Joe Jones. So called because he's from Philadelphia, and to distinguish him from another drummer called Joe Jones. Yeah, Philadelphia's got a lot of jazz heritage. Mind you, so is Kansas City, Kansas, because that's where Charlie Parker was from. Stereolab says, expensive as hell, and yes, I do find the people friendly. Strangely enough, have to be nuts to drive in Manhattan. Oh gosh, yes. But yeah, New York was very expensive. I couldn't believe how quickly I went through $300. I was blown away. I took $300 with me to New York, and I was just like, "Oh my gosh, it's gone already!" Couldn't believe it. But yeah, there you go. So I am a regular, frequent visitor to the United States, or at least I was. I'm not so much now because I can't really afford it. But I certainly was for a good number of years. I would be over in America almost every year at some point. And so my sister lives there. My sister lives just outside of Chicago, and she's been there for 25 years. And so, you know, I have family there. I've studied American history and American politics for probably 25, maybe nearly 30 years. And I love the country. I love the people. I think some of them are completely mad as a bicycle. And some of your politics is completely insane, but that doesn't mean I don't love your country, because I do. I think America's great, and to be honest, I wouldn't be where I am today without American music. You know, at the end of the day, jazz, which I would call American classical music, you know, that's what pays my bills. So, and what keeps a roof over my head and for my wife and my kids. So there you go. All right, we are at 1 minute past 1, folks, and I'm going to call it the end of the show there, because I have a busy 2 or 3 days coming up. Whoopies is asking, how has your Greek thing been doing? I'm not sure what you're talking about. Rob Overbeek says, laugh my ass off. And that's $1 in the swear jar. All you learned about our politics was probably wrong. No. I've learned All of it. Republican, Democrat, all of it, mate. I'm a student of all politics. Whether I agree with it or not, I study it, and I study it voraciously. So there you go. And actually, I get it from a variety of sources. I get it from American sources. I get it from from universities where they do degrees in politics. Oh, the Greek Bible thing. Yes. Yeah. That's the other thing. I'm a bit of a student of ancient Greek as well, and ancient Hebrew. Dead languages. I love dead languages. My wife studied Latin when she was at school. Robert Overbeek says, I can't even figure out the truth no more. Yeah, this is the thing. Unfortunately, Western world media, and it's not just Britain or the United States, you know, it's Canada, Australia, everywhere else. The Western world in general, media in the Western world, well, has really lost what truth is. And it's very sad. You know, it's all about political agendas on this, political agendas on that, you know. So you have to read a wide variety of sources on yes, Koine Greek. Yes, that's right, William. You have to read a wide variety of sources on any subject to get anywhere near close to what the truth might be. You have to do quite a lot of research, and you know, maybe talk to eyewitnesses if you can. Stereolab says, I vote Green myself, given up on the Dems, wasted vote perhaps. I I really don't want to get into politics because that's not what this show's all about. But and it's not really what my channel's all about. I don't run a politics channel, but I would say no vote is a wasted vote. If you are voting with your conscience and you're voting with your heart, you're voting with what you believe is right for your neighborhood, what is right for your state, what is right for your country, do it. Not voting is a sin. Not voting should be a crime, in my opinion. So I would say that's worse. There's no such thing as a wasted vote. Even if you're voting for somebody that, you know, you think, you know what, they're going to get maybe 20 votes, 30 votes. Doesn't matter. If you're convinced by their politics, if you're convinced by their ideology and what they believe, and you think what they believe is important, is worth endorsing, and is worth supporting, do it. Vote, for goodness sake. Anyway, I said we weren't going to get into it. William Evans said he studied Koine for 3 years under William Mance. Wow, awesome. That's great. I went to a college here in the UK where I was training for pastoral ministry, and I studied under some Australian dude. I've forgotten his name now because it's a long time ago. But yes, I voted. I voted. I'm reading what you're talking about, voting there. And I studied Koine Greek there, and I had to do papers on the Apostle Paul and the lexicography of his epistles, which is fun. I enjoyed that kind of stuff. All right, there we go. That's the end of the show. That said, Robert Overbeek. Robert Overbeek, you get the last line of the night. Absolutely. I vote for Willie Nelson. I love that. Would-be says the Presonus Independence Party. Yeah, Rick Nackby for president. You would hate that. Anyway, guys, that's it from me. A very good night to you all. Go and enjoy your dinner and whatever else you're going to be doing. Put your feet up, have a cup of coffee, or a beer, and you know, just occasionally open the window to your lounge, lean out the window, and shout out a random name and say something insulting, even if there's nobody there. Do that just for me. Just don't get arrested. All right, guys. Cheers. Good night.